crafty friends, this is Jenny from crafttestdummies.com, and today we're going to talk about a UV curing resin called Magic-Glos. Now this is a product that's been out a long time, and I actually reviewed it on my blog years ago, but I've never made a video, and since I've been using it, I really wanted to kind of give you the 411. Now, this is a one-step epoxy resin, which means that it is liquid and it's going to stay liquid until you cure it, and the way you cure it is with sunlight. Now you can also use a nail lamp, and I have used mine successfully, or you can just use the good old-fashioned sun. Now, because this is a UV curing resin, what you need to know is that it's a top coat only. You really can't mix anything in with it because it only makes sense that if you had inclusions and the sun was trying to get in to cure it, anything underneath those particles would stay wet or juicy or uncured. So I just wanted to show you, there's a couple of different ways of using it. You can put it across a surface like this, and I don't know if you can really see, but I think, yeah, now you can. What you get is this domed or kind of raised surface. Now this is, I think, 2 coats. You can see there was a little bit of sinking in the middle. The way you avoid this is by doing multiple coats. This is on the inside of the bezel, and you can see just how raised and shiny it is. Now, what I did notice is that when I left it out in the sun, do you see how this is just slightly a different color? It's like a greenish or a yellow, whereas my bezel is pretty white. Let me refocus this for you. Okay, so here you can see that it has just changed a little bit of color. It has yellowed ever so slightly because I left it curing too long. So that's something you have to kind of be aware of. Here's another example of that, like, slight discoloration if you leave it out for too long. But if you just go ahead, pop it in the sun for like 5 or 10 minutes max, you get this beautiful, glossy, shiny texture. And on most things, I mean, this is showing up because it's white, but on most surfaces, it's not even something you would ever notice, such as on this black one here.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is switch over to that technique where I'm going to show you a bit of a live replay from a Periscope demonstration and give you a voiceover. I'm going to speed up through some things because you don't need to see every second of it. It was over an hour, but I want to give you the gist. So as you can see, I'm actually putting the material in the middle of the bezel first, and then I'm just kind of going around to the outside. Now this is a doming product, which means that there's a lot of surface tension in the product itself, that it wants to create this kind of smoothed, domed, shiny surface. It's a lot like fused glass. It has that surface tension, and as you can see in this close-up, it's already kind of got that little curve to it. Now this is still liquid, it's still wet, so if you tilt it too much, it will, gravity does its job. So then you actually have to go back and put it in the little nail light or in the UV light for 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Now, if you have any problems with bubbles, you can use a butane torch like a grill lighter to get rid of those bubbles for you. So on this next sample, I'm applying the Magic-Glos to a manila tag that had pebeo oils on it. Now these oils have been dried for about 3 weeks, so I know that there's not going to be any reactions, and I just want to show you that I can use the end of a stylus, a pin, a bamboo skewer, a toothpick to just move the product to the outside, because as I mentioned, it has that strong doming tendency, which means that it wants to pull back from the edges. So you really do have to watch when you're using this, especially on a flat surface where you're not filling a bezel or filling a cup up, that you pull the material out to the edge. And even then, sometimes it tries to shrink back a little bit before you set it. That's okay, because you can add multiple thin coats of this product. As a matter of fact, if you were looking for a really high domed effect, I absolutely recommend that you do 2 or 3 light coats instead of trying to do 1 big coat, because that's when you get that sinking in the middle. But you can see that even just adding this product wet, it's like adding a layer of glass, and all of those mica particles, all of that shimmery shininess in the paint is now magnified underneath this layer of Magic-Glos. On this next example, I wanted to show you that this is polymer clay on the left-hand side, and then that is alcohol ink on shrink plastic on the right. So it's wonderful for adding top coats to polymer clay and shrink film. You can even make your own transfers and whatnot. The only recommendation that we have is that it doesn't work particularly well with Mod Podge. Now, one tip that comes right from Lisa Pavelka herself, she says that this is not really compatible with color copies. So if you have something like a color copy you want to add a top coat on, please seal it with a spray sealant like a Krylon workable fixative and not Mod Podge. Apparently it does not play well with Mod Podge. So now we know.
All right, y'all crazy crafters, thank you so